my haunted honeys. Welcome back to Mrs.Melancholy. This is Ellie.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Vanessa.
Now, before I start the episode today, I do just want to give a trigger warning for the following: suicide, hangings, and also riots. Because today we are talking about the Don Jail.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
It's a heavy one.
It's going to be a heavy episode. It might also be a little long. So strap in with your strap-ons.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Now, we know that in Toronto, history is never silent. Some stories refuse to rest. Tonight, we're going to take a step into the Don Jail, a place of punishment, pain, and perhaps penance. Yeah, I like my little alliteration there.
Ooh, fancy. Tell me more.
Once a house of horrors, the Don Jail held murderers, thieves, and the condemned. They call it the, quote, Palace of Misery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Literally, that's what it was nicknamed at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Fucked. But misery never stays locked behind bars, now does it?
No. Misery likes company.
Yeah, it's some misery business a la Paramore, am I right? For over a century, this building was the final stop for countless souls. Some left in chains, others left on the gallows, and some never left at all.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
I'm excited.
So the Toronto Don Jail, also simply known as the Don Jail, or the Don, was constructed in 1864 and opened in 1865. It was named after its location near the Don River in Toronto, Ontario.
Yes, where we are.
Where we are.
I've never been to the Don River.
It's really lovely.
Oh, it's
Is
beautiful.
It's really beautiful.
Where exactly is it?
It's along the Don Valley.
Yeah.
Is it on the Don Valley area?
Yes.
I'm not familiar with that area, that's why.
It's really lovely. It has a really nice large park for running in.
Okay, we need to go and check that out.
Yeah, we'll go there in the summertime. It's like it has a really nice view of Toronto, and
Aww.
I think that's like Riverside or Riverdale Park or something. I can't remember, but
I think it's Riverside.
YOLO.
YOLO.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's Toronto. So the Don Jail was designed by prominent architect at the time, William Thomas. The jail was built in the Italianate style with imposing stone walls and a grand central rotunda, which I'll explain a little in a sec. At the time, it was considered a state-of-the-art facility. Now, it was meant to house around 265 inmates, a mix of minor offenders awaiting trial and more serious criminals serving short sentences. The design included small individual cells, an innovation meant to emphasize isolation and reflection for prisoners. In keeping with 19th century penal reform ideas, sorry, I'm 12.
Oh my god.
penal.
Penal. However, overcrowding would soon undermine these intentions. So the Don Jail's architecture reflected both practicality and a certain grim grandeur, which honestly I just love. A grim grandeur.
Yes.
It reminds me of like the house at Crimson Peak.
Yes.
That's how I would describe it. A grim grandeur, which is an aesthetic I
Indeed.
live for.
Absolutely.
Let's face it,
every day.
that like house is like a dream.
And Guillermo loves Toronto, so
Yeah, I was on the set for that.
for Crimson Peak, yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Rude.
It was so accurate and so real that he wanted it to be like an actual house. So there was running water and everything.
I love him.
Like literally when you walked in, you're like, wow, this is a legit place.
I love him.
And it'd probably be like $4.2 million.
Well, I'm very excited for his adaptation of Frankenstein coming out later this year.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah, me too.
Stoked.
We're
like
going.
last year Nosferatu, this year Frankenstein. I'm living my best in the best era of like Renaissance horror.
Absolutely. I
know.
still haven't seen Nosferatu. I really want to.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
We need to watch it.
I saw what you did there. I
really
saw
want
what you
to
did last
see
summer.
Nosferatu.
We can watch it together. I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it. It's amazing. It's incredible. I
Have you
love it.
seen like all of the originals?
It is so good. And like, honestly, I'm obsessed with Edwardian. So that's just like
That's your vibes.
that's my vibes.
All right.
Tragic death stories. Edwardian vibes.
Grim grandeur. So key features of the grim grandeur of the Don jail included the rotunda, which I mentioned earlier, which is a central circular area from which corridors branched off, allowing guards to observe multiple areas simultaneously. Cell blocks, which are rows of tiny cells measuring about 29 square feet each only. Hoya.
Oh my god.
Hoya. Barely enough space for a cot, a wash basin, and a bucket to shit and piss in. And the gallows, a private execution chamber, which was added on later, where many of Ontario's condemned prisoners would meet their end.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So the jail was meant to emphasize both punishment and reform. Early reformers believed in strict isolation, silence, and hard labor as methods of moral rehabilitation. However, these lofty ideals would be overshadowed by the harsh realities of the prison's operation, which, I'm sorry, like strict isolation, silence, and hard labor sounds horrendous in itself.
Yeah.
It does.
And it just gets worse.
Oh,
I'm sure it does.
of course it does.
Sorry.
I mean, in all fairness, that sounds like the square footage that you can get nowadays in Toronto.
Oh,
Yeah,
for like $2,500
$2,500.
Yeah. Yep. From its earliest days, the Don Jail gained a reputation as a, quote, palace of misery. Despite its intended capacity, the facility was often overcrowded. Cells designed for one inmate, so that's the 29 square feet, frequently housed two or more, creating unbearable conditions.
Oh my god.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
Poor ventilation, inadequate heating, and unsanitary practices contributed to the suffering. Inmates also faced brutal discipline. Hard labor, which included breaking stones and grinding grain, was the most common. Like grinding grain to like make wheat and shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Meals were meager and nutrition was very poor, further exacerbating the hardships of the imprisonment. So the Don Jail was managed by a succession of wardens and overseen by the provincial government of Ontario. Its early administration reflected Victorian-era attitudes towards crime and punishment. So this included strict discipline, guards enforced silence and isolation, and often punishing inmates for very, very minor infractions, like speaking out of turn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Executions. So between 1872 and 1962, the Don Jail served as the execution site for Ontario. For like all of Ontario until 62.
Sick. Oh my
Wait, what?
god.
62
1962.
for execution?
Yeah. My mom was born. My mother was alive when they were still performing executions at this place. Public hangings were initially conducted in front of crowds, so that was like a form of entertainment in like the 1870s.
Naturally.
Naturally. I mean, honestly, if I lived in the 1870s and they were doing a public execution and I had no other means of entertainment, I'd go.
Absolutely.
I'd go.
I mean, that was an entertainment for people.
It was.
It was like literally, it's either, you sleep with someone, you get really drunk, or you watch the public hanging.
Exactly.
Can you imagine the conversation? Like, hey, dude, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great. Do you want to go together and like go see the hanging of that idiot? Oh yeah, I heard he did something like terrible.
Yeah, let's go see which way his neck snaps.
Yeah. $5, it's gonna go left.
Is his neck gonna snap, or is he just gonna strangle himself to death because his neck didn't snap and he'll just slowly fucking suffocate?
And
Rip-a-ronies.
Rip-a-rooney.
what people don't realize is that in the movies they fall and they hang and they die instantly. They don't die instantly.
No.
It's like an average between 30 to 40 minutes. They're just hanging there like suffocating and dying.
Nice.
No, yeah, truly.
Oh my god.
Most necks do not snap.
They're just poor sons of bitches.
Yeah. That's why the guillotine was invented, actually.
Yeah, just to off with their heads.
Off with their heads.
Yes. Make it more efficient.
Yeah.
Ooh, I
Wait.
want to do a history of the guillotine.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I wonder if it has any ties to Canada.
I'm going to look into that because I'm
Yeah.
curious.
They probably
Yeah.
did back in the day, like the 1700s.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look into that, listeners, because now my curiosity has been piqued.
Yep.
Anyways, executions. Yeah. So initially they were conducted in front of crowds, but were eventually moved indoors for privacy at the beginning of the 20th century. So 34 men were hanged at the jail over that span of years.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the third Victorian era attitude was corruption and cruelty.
Yay.
Yeah. In the late 19th century, reports of corruption among guards and mistreatment of prisoners tarnished the jail's reputation. It became infamous for its association with several high-profile inmates and events, which I will name off now.
Excellent.
Yes. So over the years, the jail housed many notorious criminals, including, and I'm sorry, I'm probably going to butcher these names, Peter Demeter, or Demeter, I don't know, a millionaire convicted of hiring a hitman to murder his wife.
Oh boy.
Looking into that. I've already made notes.
Yes.
Yeah. And also bank robber Donald Kelly, known for multiple escape attempts. I'm going to look into both of these fuckers.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, he doesn't deserve to die because, like, I mean,
He's just trying to make a
he's just making a buck.
living.
You know?
Unless he killed someone, then it's like,
Well, murder may have been involved. I mean, murder always, right?
Yeah.
Hashtag murder always. There's a really, really cool documentary. Murder. There's a really cool documentary about three men who escaped Alcatraz in San Francisco. Check it out. It's really cool.
Oh, okay.
I've seen
really,
that
really
one.
cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's amazing.
And they got out. I'm
They
sorry.
did.
They got out, and I'm like very, very convinced that at least one of them just lived his life.
Probably.
I hope he did.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Living his dream.
Also, again, public executions. So in the early days, it was the hangings were a spectacle, and it created almost like a circus-like atmosphere. So, you know, that's always fun. It wasn't just like going to the theater.
No.
It was a fucking time.
It was a bit more dramatic than that.
It was very dramatic. And then finally, lots of riots. So overcrowding and poor conditions led to inmate riots mostly, particularly in the 20th century, as prisoners protested their treatment, which, like, yeah, good for them. I know they're criminals,
Absolutely.
but, like, Jesus Lord.
And it took them long enough to actually like build another facility and like relocate some of these people.
My dad
Still-
worked on that.
Yeah.
When he was in construction, yeah. By the mid-20th century, the Don Jail was considered outdated and inhumane. Thank goodness. Reports of appalling conditions, including inadequate food, overcrowding, and harsh discipline, led to public outcry. In 1977, the jail was officially closed for housing prisoners, though its gallows remained in use again until 1962 when, so that was the year Canada abolished capital punishment. Go Canada.
Good.
Yeah. I know the death penalty is hotly debated in the US, but I'm not for it.
No, I'm not for it either. I feel like somebody should really have to sit out the rest of their life rotting in prison,
I agree.
dying of natural causes, thinking about what you've done with your fucking life.
Well, exactly. Like, let your mind descend into madness over the enormous guilt that they should feel over what they've done.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And if, you know, there's someone who does not feel guilt, then just feel bad about yourself that you're stuck in here until the end of your days and don't get to see the light of the sunshine on your face.
Yeah. Plus, if you don't kill yourself, somebody else will take you out.
I mean, honestly. Honestly. So after its closure, part of the Don Jail was repurposed as a detention center for short-term offenders, but its days as a major correctional facility were over. Now, in the 21st century, the Don Jail was repurposed as part of the Bridgepoint Health Complex, which is a rehabilitation and healthcare facility, which I think is really cool. I think that's an awesome way to repurpose and maybe redeem an old architectural structure.
Definitely.
Its main rotunda and facade have been preserved as a historical landmark to this day, though the building's grim history lingers in public memory. Visitors can still see remnants of its prison past, including the gallows area and parts of the original cells.
Sick.
Yeah. In 1869, so we're going back in time now.
Yes.
So in 1869, the jail witnessed its first hanging, a man named John Boyd. They say his ghost still roams the halls, searching for the justice he claimed he never received. And then, of course, there's the legend of the twin hangmen, Arthur and Clarence Ellis.
Ooh.
Brothers by blood, divided by guilt.
Ooh.
No.
I like this.
I know, right? However, the Don Jail's most famous spirit is a woman. I know.
Go figure.
Go figure.
Is it a woman in white?
No. It's okay. I am going to get back to that, though. I still want to do a kind of like an expose episode about the legend of, quote, the woman in white.
Yes.
I'm down.
But I just think it's really interesting that the most infamous ghost is a woman when it was not a female prison in the 1800s. Like, it was just men. So this woman, young, blonde-haired, and barefoot, which is disgusting to me. I hate feet, y'all. Witnesses claim to see her gliding through these halls, her face pale, and her expression sorrowful. But who is she? Why is she here?
Who could she be?
So some say she was actually a prisoner. So after the prison proper closed and they just housed for short term for smaller offenses, women did also, like female criminals also were put in there at that time.
Yeah.
So people do think she was maybe a prisoner, perhaps a victim of a crime who was punished unjustly, as we know so many women were at that time.
Yes.
But others believe that she was actually a prison nurse who worked there in the early 1900s, which I don't know.
That makes sense.
That could happen.
I think
That's
that
what
theory kind of sticks out.
Yeah, I think that she was also a nurse. That kind of sticks out to me too.
Yeah.
Especially once you go on, like, she just seems too kind to have been a prisoner. Like, I really do feel like she has that like healing spirit of her, that she must have been a nurse.
Yeah.
So the story goes, and you'll love this, V.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah. So that the blonde woman, who I'm saying is a nurse because I believe that,
Yeah.
fell in love with one of her prisoners that she was tending to.
Of course.
Yeah. A forbidden romance that ended in heartbreak.
Aw.
Yeah. So after her lover was one of the 34 men executed,
Damn.
she was found dead in her quarters.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did she?
Well, did she take her own life, or was it something darker?
Ooh.
Ooh.
They say her ghost still defends her lover, claiming his innocence.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a love so strong, even death could not silence it.
Oh my God.
I know.
Break my heart.
Break my heart.
Don't go breaking my heart.
So the gallows were actually shockingly the most busy between 1900 and 1962.
Yeah.
Yeah, where 30 of the 34 men were hanged.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy. So the blonde ghost is usually seen standing in the gallows area near where the trap door used to be. Yeah. And she's just there standing, seemingly waiting for something.
She's chilling.
Yeah, but what is she waiting for? For justice, revenge, or perhaps she's just simply mourning what this place took from her. So you hear her crying.
Oh, she's definitely sorrowful.
When she's seen sometimes, but she's most often heard, and it's her like crying and wailing out in grief.
Wow.
Just so sad. But others say that her crying is really just meant to lure people to her.
Oh.
But no one ever sticks around long enough to find out, because like I wouldn't either.
No, me neither.
Let's be honest. But others say that she's crying in order to lure people towards her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like a siren.
Almost like a siren, yeah, but like a sad siren for people to be like, oh, what's wrong, baby girl?
Yeah.
Then she fucks with them.
Yeah. 100%.
But no one ever stays long enough to find out. So, and again, I don't blame them. I wouldn't.
Me
No.
neither.
So the guards called her, quote, the Guardian. So the prison guards called her the Guardian, which is, I think, ironic because that's the name of one of our newspapers is the Guardian.
In Toronto.
In Toronto, it's one of our newspapers. It's the Guardian.
It's
Yeah.
I
definitely
just think
is.
it's kind of funny. So the guards claimed that she punished those who mistreated the prisoners, slamming doors, toppling tools, leaving handprints on people's necks and arms.
Damn.
Wow.
So she's quite malevolent. Like,
She is, but like she's like a vigilante ghost.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love.
I love a vigilante.
I love a
That's pretty dope.
vigilante. I love Dexter.
Dexter.
Hades.
Hades.
Dexter, Hades, a vigilante.
A vigilante.
Others believe she comforted the condemned, offering solace before their final moments. I think she did both. I think she sought vengeance out on those who hurt the prisoners because she felt for the prisoners.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So this makes me wonder personally, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts, is do you think she sticks around because she can't forgive how the prisoners were treated, or because she can't leave her lover behind?
Can't leave her lover behind.
Yeah, that's my theory, or that's the theory I would go with as well.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I kind of just love the idea of like a strong ass woman vigilante being like, yeah, I love this guy, but the man that I loved who is executed unjustly is like represents all of the injustice that happened in this place. So I'm going to be the like vengeance seeker on all of their behalves. I think it's a bit of big column A, big column B.
Yeah, I think so too, considering she does like actually interact with people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's the tragedy of love, you know? It binds us.
indeed it does.
Oh, it does.
Now, not all prisons have locks. Some prisons are made of grief, some regret, and unfinished stories. The Don Jail holds many. Hers is only one. So the Toronto Don Jail remains one of the city's most infamous landmarks. You can visit it still. Its history is a reflection of the evolution of criminal justice in Canada, from the harsh, punitive measures of the 19th century to the modern emphasis on rehabilitation. Yet, its reputation as a place of misery and suffering has cemented its place in Toronto's darker historical narratives. History never forgets, and neither do its ghosts. The blonde woman will wander the Don's halls until her truth is heard, or until love releases her.
Aw.
Until next time, remember to keep your lights on and your hearts open. And please, if you liked it, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And also, we want to hear from you. Please send us your ghostly encounters to that's mrs.melancholy.pod@gmail.com.
Bye.
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 Finished.